Okay, Himanshu, I can see that few of the participants have joined in. So if you permit, we can wait for 2, 3 more minutes and let the others join in.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Yes.
Bina? Do not read success stories. You will only get message. Read failure stories. You will get some ideas for the success. These lines are said by Missile Man of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. A healthy and warm good morning to all. On behalf of IMT CDL, I, Dr. Preeti Sirohi, welcome our speaker, Dr. Himanshu Talwar, international TEDx speaker, celebrated author, PR professional, and winner of several national and international awards, who spared his precious time to conduct the webinar on chemistry of conflict management, a very relevant and appropriate topic in today's scenario. Dr. Himanshu is a mentor and social worker with an extraordinary personality. He has rich experience from counseling students, entrepreneurs, managers, and working for the international establishments and non-profit organizations. Dr. Himanshu holds a master's in business administration and attended executive management program at SAD Business School, University of Oxford, Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, IIM Bangalore. He also holds a doctorate and Doctor of Letters degree in business management. Dr. Himanshu has dedication towards the social causes, and this has earned him the Indian Achiever Award 2020 for social service and Indian Excellence Award of Inspiring Authors of the year 2021, and is also a recipient of several global awards and accolades. Dr. Talwar has been a fervent spokesperson of his beliefs and is being invited as a speaker at 2 TEDx events in India and 3 international events in Morocco, Russia, and Tanzania. He has addressed various national and international conferences and seminars. He has also recently published his second own book, Asakti, Too Fond of You, and after writing The Journey of the Lost Soul last year. Dr. Talwar's personal motto is passion with profession. We welcome you here, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Himanshu Talwar to please proceed from here. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Right. So thank you for this introduction. Sometimes I look back and I see myself that like 10, 15 years back, what I was doing. And after investing so much of time and money and effort in upgrading, uplifting, personal, professional level, CV goes from 1 paragraph to 1 page to 2 pages. So that's all by God's grace and blessings from my parents, professors, and everyone. So thank you, ma'am. Conflict management. See the topic pe aate hain because I think this topic deserves more than an hour, but with the limitation of time, I'll try to cover whatever best I can. And also, I'll use a small PPT to just give you the idea of what conflict management is and how it is basically related to the management education. So first of all, let us understand what conflict is, and then we shift to conflict management. So conflict means what? Conflict means I disagree. Conflict means it can be a fight. Conflict means it can be a war. Conflict means it can be a very simple disagreement on a topic. It can be anything. So first of all, in life, I would like to share that I'm not making it a typical presentation here or a lecture here. I'll give you very practical examples, all of you. Something I've learned from my own experiences, something I've learned from the books I've read, and something I've learned from my seniors, my professors, my boss, and my colleagues, and my friends, and everyone. So see, there are 3 aspects. Conflict आपकी लाइफ में 3 तरीके से जुड़ा हुआ है. First, conflict जो है वो आपका अपने आप से, that you have a conflict with yourself. You want to do something or you don't want to do something. If you do something, then only you conflict. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have done that. Then I wish I would have taken a decision. I wish I would have not taken a decision. I wish I would have avoided an argument. I wish I wouldn't have avoided an argument and I would have won the argument. पहली लड़ाई first thing starts within yourself. So in order to understand conflict in your life and importance of conflict management in your life, first thing is introspection. Introspect yourself. What exactly I want? Why I get went to on and why I get into an argument? Why while dealing with people, sometimes I, rather than just keeping an open discussion, I get into an argument or a fight. Why? What is the reason? मेरे पर्सनल चैलेंजेस और मेरे प्रोफेशनल चैलेंजेस क्या मेरे कम्युनिकेशन को नेगेटिव वे में ड्राइव करते, क्या वो मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं देते दैट आई कैन अवॉइड अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंड आई कैन हैव अ हेल्दी रिलेशन, हेल्दी फ्रेंड्स, हेल्दी colleagues, I can have that all. So first thing is introspection. You must introspect if you really want to understand the challenges or the importance of the conflict management. Today, I am going to give you all solutions. I am not here to tell you this. No, I'm with every sheet, with every paragraph, I'll give you a solution. The second thing, before I proceed, आप हमेशा याद रखिए, take conflict as a positive word. Don't take it as a negative word. The problem is, every time we hear conflict, means लड़ाई, means we are going to a fight, means we are going to an argument. No, conflict can be very, very beneficial for you also. If you have the courage, if you have the tactics, if you have the understanding of conflict, your life can be very smooth. You can proceed, you can grow in your life very easily. You can be a winner, irrespective of how much challenges you face, or people try to, challenge you for anything or everything. But if you can take conflict in a positive way, thousands of things can be done. First thing which I've talked about is introspection. Second is your personal life. I'm sharing from my personal experiences and a very practical presentation today. Second is your personal life. Personal life includes your parents, your kids, your wife, your husband, your close friends, your say acquaintance, जिनको आप अपने personal life में एक space देते हैं. That personal life also has conflicts. आप अपने फादर से बात करते हैं, मदर से बात करते हैं, वाइफ से, बच्चों से, अपने टीचर्स, प्रोफेसर्स, अपने बॉस, जिनके साथ you have a very healthy relation, but still you go into a conflict. Why? That's a question. And if that conflict, for instance, बहुत common है that office में कुछ conflict हुआ and we say resign, I'm not going to work, or I don't want to work with this colleague of mine, or I do a lot of counseling on various matters apart from education, all that. Say like relationship management is one, then conflict management it is here, then a lot of related topics. So legal side, because I have a law degree as well, so legal side also. So I am today going to mix everything in the sense that I'll give you the perspective from every angle. So a lot of people, when they simply the conflict starts and then they say thank you, we can't live together, and they part ways. Like an office, sorry, I can't work. Sometimes in home you have these issues. Sometimes with your closest of the friends who knows each and everything about your life, you always get into a discussion, an argument, and a conflict opens, and then you just walk away as if you guys were never friends or something. This is the second aspect. Now third is the professional aspect of conflict, where it is only you and your work. Work could be anything. I mean to say that you know that person professionally. You have no personal friendships or something. No, he or she is just a say colleague or a professional or working for different companies, or maybe they are your neighbors but they are not close to you, and we get into an argument or conflict with them as well. Just say Delhi mein, so we are from Chandigarh, and when we moved to Delhi, we realized that Delhi mein conflict starts for parking space. A lot of people now live in Gurgaon, Noida, their lives are sorted. But Delhi mein, because of shortage of parking space, people take argument or conflict to the next level. They call the police. Sometimes they beat each other. They are ready to go to any extent so that they get the parking space. That's it. That's also a problem. So you are coming from office, you had a tough day, you're coming, you park your car somewhere, someone comes to you, says, okay, remove this car, otherwise I'll call the police and all that. Though they have not purchased this place, that place belongs to government, but they think that they own that, and the conflict starts and it goes to next level. So these are three things: personal, then personal in the sense your parents, closest friends, maybe colleagues also, and then the professional sphere. So these are the three aspects which I want to touch upon. As I said, 1 hour is not at all enough. And I really want to have question answer session also, where at least I should answer 4 or 5 questions and involve you people also, that what are the challenges which you are facing. And before I start my PPT, another thing is that ma'am has mentioned, IIM and all that. So let me very briefly give you the different side of me. So I work for not-for-profits. That is my professional life, and I'm dedicated to that. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I use all those platforms professionally. We can connect on any of that. So I did my engineering, then I did MBA, and I started my career. But something was inside me. I wanted to read more, learn more, study more, write more. So I did philosophy, Masters of Philosophy. I did a law degree, then I did PhD, and then DLIT. And in between, I went to IIM Oxford and all that stuff, and few other certifications, which includes psychological counseling, philosophical side of counseling. And then I wrote 3 books, and articles I write every week, you'll see getting published in all major prominent magazines and newspapers. Now, I am here again to share my experience, and if I can be somebody who can give at least one solution today to you guys so that you can live a better life. And that's my passion for profession which I write, is I want to help people uplift in the sense that they grow, they become more mature in terms of handling such kind of topics, which includes conflict management. So allow me to start my presentation. So if you see, I have named it chemistry of conflict management. Now there is a reason behind that. Let me tell you. There is a reason behind that, why I have named it chemistry of conflict management. My dear friends, colleagues, try to understand that conflict management is all, if we say it in Hindi, it's a chemical locha. That I mix water and I mix curd, I make something which I can take. I mix X, I mix Y. Sometimes it tastes good, sometimes it doesn't taste good, right? We all do that. You add more salt to your what you are eating, chemistry change over. You add more sugar to something, chemistry change over. If the salt or sugar or any other thing which you are mixing or you are doing something is in appropriate, um, you know, gram, milliliter, whatever you call it, then it is always perfect. If it is not in appropriate manner or in appropriate quantity, then conflict begins. Same thing happens in your life. From the philosophical and psychological perspective, I disagree to certain things, I agree to certain things. The day I agree to certain things, maybe somebody who is opposite me, he's very happy. On the other hand, same person, same condition, perhaps next day I disagree to that and conflict begins. So what is the solution? So that means for everything there is a conflict. Russia is fighting with Ukraine, India is fighting with our own neighbors. Every country is fighting. South Korea fighting North Korea, America fighting several other places. So what is this conflict and how to resolve this conflict? So today, although I'm going to share my personal experiences and I'm going to help you guys whatever best I can, but this presentation and this IMT CDL is basically a management institute. So whatever I'm going to cover today is from the management perspective. And anyways, as I said, we can connect on any of the social media platforms. And in case you need any help at any level, I'll be more than happy to address it. So first of all, the most important thing for all of us is, what is conflict management? So conflict management, remember now that all of you are management students. I myself here as a management professional. So we are talking about management, but yes, with some good examples which can help you resolve that conflict management issues. So conflict management, as it is, you can read this is available on Google everywhere. Basically it's a technique, ideas designed to reduce the negative effects of conflict, enhance the positive outcomes for all parties involved. As I said in the beginning, as long as you think, you work like a professional, and you will take word conflict as a positive word, your life is sorted. But the problem is definition itself. If you see, pick up definition, you Google conflict management or only conflict. Definition of this word itself is negative, that it is designed to reduce the negative effects. Why? What is the conflict? If I take conflict as a positive word and I say that, okay, I want a glass of water, and somebody sitting next to me says, I want a cup of coffee. And I say, no, it's quite hot. You should not take coffee. Or somebody sitting next to me says that this is, evening time. Let us have a cup of coffee. Why are you having a glass of water? Then I say that I'm thirsty. I'm having a glass of water. You're not thirsty. You're having coffee. I'll probably have a cup of tea or coffee after that. But the conflict begins. Now the conflict begins means that if we are dragging this small conversation to the negative side of the communication, then it becomes a conflict. And on the positive side, if we say that you go out, or you say that you're in an office or anywhere, I need a glass of water, I'm thirsty. That's the positive side of conflict management. I need a glass of water because I'm thirsty. What would you like to have? I like to have a cup of coffee. Or let the person decide, or let the company decide, or let your family decide. We are going anywhere, we are talking to each other, we are inside our home, outside our home. The main thing which all of us should understand is that while in a conflict, how you communicate is what matters. So communication is the only and only key to success. That success means within the conflict management context. So if we see like the second paragraph, the techniques and ideas used depend on types of conflict. Now see, first of all, we are saying conflict is either negative or positive. Then if we go by book, then conflict are different types also. Researchers have differentiated between affective, relational, as I already said, substantive, performance or process-based conflict, as well as inter-organizational conflict between two or more businesses, and inter-organizational conflict within organizations. I personally feel the problem starts from here, that there is something, a conflict, which I'm taking it as a positive word, then I'll probably not go and study all these things. कि conflict आपका professional भी हो सकता है, आपका personal भी हो सकता है, businesses में भी हो सकता है, और आपके किसी भी तरह की rivalry भी हो सकती है. But on the other hand, if I take it as a positive word, conflict, then I'll say it's a competition. It's not a conflict. It's a competition. And competition, definition of competition in conflict means that I want to perform better, or I want to say that last word should be mine. I am your boss. I am giving you these instructions. You should follow these instructions. You start following those instructions, life is sorted. But the day you say, no, I will not follow you because what you're saying is right or wrong, I perhaps know or I perhaps don't know. But the way I'm communicating is I'm creating a conflict. And that conflict can drag you into something which can lead to actual conflict, maybe a fight or a war or anything. So relational, as I said, introspection, substantive, and task specific conflict is mentioned here. It means people who know you, who understand you, that you are a really hardworking guy or you're not a hardworking guy, you know the process or you don't know the process. And the third one is the typical professional, that okay, there are two groups which are fighting. They are fighting, somebody is fighting for land, somebody is fighting for something, somebody just wish to grow, somebody wish to expand their organization, take it to the next level. So this is what conflict management is all about. एक छोटा सा वर्ड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, लेकिन किसी कॉन्वर्जेशन में अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट वर्ड भी यूज हो जाता है इन अ नेगेटिव वे, so that conversation becomes an argument rather than a discussion. That is the beginning. That is the beginning of the solution I'm giving with you is that communication, positive communication, understanding conflict in a positive way. जब तक ये नेगेटिव वे में आप इसको रखेंगे माइंड में, or when you are dealing with somebody, if you're doing something like this, every time every time it will give you negative results. You'll lose hope. You'll say, okay, this person is not good, that person not good. Perhaps you'll say, I'm sure ये काफी लोगों हम सबके साथ होता है. Sometimes we say that, अरे यार गलत मैं ही, I'm the one who is wrong. I did a mistake. I wouldn't have done this. This is what the conflict is all about. Now, conflict हमें समझ आता है. Conflict का word हमें समझ आता है. Conflict हमारी लाइफ को कहाँ लेके जा सकता है, कैसे वो हमारे को ग्रोथ में हेल्प कर सकता है, कैसे वो हमारे पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप्स को डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकता है. तो आज उसके सॉल्यूशन सेकंड. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सेकंड पॉइंट इज दैट वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि उसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या है. How many of you, when you know today after attending this session, I'm sure a lot of you will introspect. How many of you really understand what conflict is? कि मैं conflict हुआ भी था या नहीं हुआ था, or that was just a simple communication and I dragged it and made it a conflict. Conflict level तक तो हम पहुंचे ही नहीं थे. For that, it is important for you, for all of us, to understand that what are the characteristics of conflict. And if you understand the characteristics of conflict very well, आप उस किसी भी ऐसी सिचुएशन को लाइफ में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट लेवल तक जाने ही नहीं. फॉर इंस्टेंस, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इन्वॉल्व्स ऑपोजिशन. You have been assigned a task by your boss, by a professor. Do this. You finish that task, give it to them, send it to them. Life sorted. Now you take that task to any of your colleague, any of your friend. You discuss with that, or maybe with some other team leader, or maybe with someone else. So that means you are involving someone. Now, if you're confident enough that that person is positive person and he or she will help you, then you have taken the right decision. Yes, if you're involving somebody for support, right. But if you're not confident and you are sharing information with somebody who can misuse that information, that means you are inviting conflict, a situation which will turn into a conflict. So think 100 times. If, for instance, if you're getting into a situation, think 100 times, understand what the opposition is, who the opposition is, whether I really require an opposition for this task or not. Half of your problem is solved. Second, conflict has come to stay among humans. As I said, as long as we take conflict as a positive word, everything is fine. Let it stay with us. Yes, you handle conflict well. You don't handle conflict well. You understand the word conflict, that is sufficient. If you don't understand the word conflict, you don't know whether you are in a conflict or not. So conflict has come and stay with us. Let it stay. Let us understand the conflict. Let us go into that situation and come out of it cleanly, rather than getting into it and dragging it to the next level. There are processes involved that usually result in conflicts. अभी हम इसके बारे में आगे और भी बात करेंगे. That sometimes we really don't know, but there are multiple processes. From management perspective, there are some processes. From psychological and philosophical perspective, there are some. From the legal perspective, there are conflicts, there are processes involved. So if we look at it from different angles, so every field, it has its own way of dealing conflicts, definition of conflicts. It is for us to understand our business, our work, our role, our job, our family, our parents, our partners in a way that we must understand that where exactly the conflict arises. And if you do not let that situation come in your life, you will live a very healthy and fruitful and happy life. That is what conflict is, the positive side of the conflict. Conflict is not to be avoided. Yes, ये एक statement हमेशा याद रखिए that अगर आप कभी conflict हो रहा है और आप positive way में conflict को ले रहे हैं, please go into that conflict. Yes, go attend that conflict. उस conflict को face कीजिए. One, that will make you strong. Second, that will make you a better person in life, how to manage conflicts. And third, above all, is that you will come to know the understanding the nitty-gritties of conflict. कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के अंदर एक्चुअली मैं एक ऐसी कौन सी सिचुएशन आई थी जिसको मैनेज नहीं कर पाया, जिसको मैं अपने हार्डवर्क से या अपने माइंड से या अपनी क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग से उसको मैनेज कर. सो नेवर एवर अवॉइड अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में जाइए, उस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कम्युनिकेट योर पॉइंट्स. आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कुछ लर्न करने के फ्रॉम द ऑपोजिट साइड. आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कि किसको आपने लाइफ में अवॉइड करना है, किसको आपने अपने सर्कल में रखना है. सो गो इनटू अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, बट इन अ वेरी पॉजिटिव वे. एंड सेकंड, Master the art of communication while entering into a conflict. Language is not the matter here. It could be English, Hindi, or any regional language, or it doesn't matter. We should not, communication means how we communicate, not the language. Language का इससे कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. A lot of people I have seen, a lot of training programs I have seen where people say conflict means you must have good writing skills, you must have, no. Conflict is you can handle or address any conflict as a good communicator, but उसका language के point से कभी भी ना सोचे कि just because if you can write well in English or in Hindi then only you can manage a conflict. No, it has nothing to do with that. It is only your understanding, your maturity of understanding the word conflict. And conflict takes different shapes and form. That is another area, that even if you're taking conflict in a positive way, while dealing with your family, conflict will have its own different shapes and form. While dealing with your friends, a different shape and form. While dealing with your colleagues or your boss or anywhere across the globe, it will have its own shape and form. So the understanding of conflict, as I said, is more important. And in order to understand, these are the basic characteristics. So this these things grow in the sense that you learn, you pick up, and then you realize, okay, that was my mistake, that was not my mistake. And then, as I said in the beginning, that there are people who are around us for years, and we don't really realize that they are the real people who are there, who are positive people. And there are people who are there and they have that negativity or something, and we still keep going, gelling along with them. And we get into a conflict every time, but we don't realize that we really don't need people with that kind of attitude or personality. But it's all maturity. With time you grow and you circles, some people expand their circles who are good communicators, some people reduce their circles. It is all basically about the understanding of conflict. जितना आप conflict को समझते जाते हैं उतना उतना आपकी life sorted होती जाती है. Now, you know, it's a management college, so I can't avoid sharing this, the 5 conflict management styles, because this is really important that all of you see. We all of us, in the sense, all management professionals, we must understand that books play a very crucial role in our life, because we are expected to read a lot of books in terms of understanding the management strategies, in terms of understanding the various formulas and various subjects. So from the typical, I would say, the management style and management perspective: accommodating, avoiding, compromising, collaborating, competing. These are 5 conflict management styles. I can share a copy of this presentation with all of you later on, and then probably you can refer to it. So accommodating, as we all understand that how accommodating we are, in the sense that we understand the concerns of others empathetically. One is sympathy, one is empathy. So accommodating basically means that how empathetically you understand the situation. कि अगर सामने वाले से आपका कोई conflict start हो जाता है, you must understand that perhaps आपके सामने वाला किसी और pressure में, he or she is under pressure, and that's why he or she is putting pressure on you in a way that, okay, you finish this, I do this task, and then let us have a sorted life so that we go back home from office chilled out, rather than taking conflict back to our home. And सबसे बड़ी psychological or philosophical problem these days, so-called in multinationals or maybe in this corporate world, is that problem is that, one, we don't want to become an accommodating person, and second, we take conflicts back home, and that spoils our lives. I do a lot of these counseling sessions with couples, with their families, with parents, children. A lot of people, they bring conflicts every day back home. A lot of parents bring conflict every day back home, and then they have this toxic environment in their home. Kids don't want to follow their parents, they don't listen to them. A lot of couples bring toxic back home, and every time they are having a discussion, that discussion basically becomes an argument, which leads to a lot of other things. So we bring conflict back home. इसका solution आपके पास आज मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ, that become more accommodating. Accommodating means that you don't have to every time understand, in the sense, okay, what are the concerns of others in the, because if you're receiving instructions, follow those instructions. If somebody, you're getting into a conflict, in a positive way, understand empathetically, become an accommodating person, or absorb कीजिए that what is the thing, resolve that conflict, and come back home relaxed. Then second solution is, these are so-called styles, but I'm calling it solutions, that avoiding is another area. You can avoid a lot of things in life, but sometimes we don't. Maybe because of our ego, maybe because we think that, for instance, I am somebody's boss and I say, why would I avoid this? Let him or her avoid this. No, You can avoid a lot of things, but we get into that, and that once we get into that, it becomes a conflict from positive to negative, and it goes to next level. Then compromising. Compromising is another word which a lot of people take it as negative. I have done a lot of sessions on compromising also. So compromising is taken as a negative word. No, no, compromising is not a negative word at all. Please understand. You know, compromising, he is a part of a situation. It could be, so this style could be appropriate to use when it's more important to reach a solution than for the solution to be great. A deadline is rapidly approaching. You are on an impasse, or you need a temporary solution for the problem. So compromising word in a positive way. It is not a negative word. Compromising means that, okay, you, all of us, we have to solve something. We have a, say we are in a conflict, ladai ho gayi. We are in a conflict, a lot of things are going on. But I compromise on a few things. Other person compromise on a few things, and we resolve the issue, which is more important. So in our professional life, in our management style, from people who are studying management, it is expected कि आपको एक compromising situation में आना, एक compromising word को positive way में लेके, that you resolve a situation. That is all. Collaborating, we all know that more collaborated efforts you put, more easily solutions you get. And competing, as I said, is another form of conflict, that we have to compete with ourselves every day. I want to become a better person. I have to compete with myself. I have to say I'll do it better. If, for instance, you're going to perform in an organization, for example, I'm sure आप लोगों ने सबने face किया होगा, in an organization, the entire year, आप लोग जब, when you're working together as colleagues and everything is fine. But when it comes to the growth, to the increment side of the business, at the end of the year, you'll see a lot of people, changing their faces or their way of communication, or perhaps they get into these petty things that they are better than others and all that stuff. I don't want to get too much into this, but competition, a healthy competition is very important. Competing is very important, and take competing as a word that it is part of the conflict. Basically, if you're in a conflict, is that means you're trying to compete, be a better person. Maybe trying from yourself, you're comparing yourself from last 6 months to this after 6 months, or with your colleague or with your boss, and these things happen. We say, "Arey boss, ye kuch nahi aata hai," or he got promoted, or this happened, or that happened, which is quite normal. So that's again something which is part of the conflict. And as long as you take it conflict and competing as positive side of it, you will grow. Certainly, you will grow. You will not lose out any such opportunities. Now, as I said, that it's 1 hour, thoda sa rush kar rahe hum log, and my job here, ma'am invited me, so my job is that I not only talk about conflict and experience and everything, I should give you solutions also and share the positive side of it. So let us jump to the solutions. Don't ignore conflict, as I've already mentioned. Dealing with a conflict is more important rather than ignoring. You can ignore a situation. You can ignore a particular colleague. You can ignore a particular email, but don't ignore a conflict. If a conflict arises and your boss says, no, you are wrong, or your family says you are right or wrong, then positively enter that conflict. Put your point forward in a positive way. No, ये हुआ, you are late to home, आप late रोज आ रहे हैं and all that stuff. ऐसे बहुत सारे challenges आते हैं. See, I'm working on this project. So that keep that communication open. And what happens is, conflict can be a silent conflict also. It is not necessary that you have to actually write something or you have to actually say something to somebody. No, conflict can be a silent conflict also, that you decide to stay silent, the other person also decide to stay silent. That means you are in a conflict. You are actually in a conflict, but you don't realize. You think that we are not in a conflict because we are not talking, we are not communicating, sorted. No, that is actually a bigger problem. That if you're not communicating and you are in a conflict, that's actually a bigger problem. So that is again another thing, that don't ignore a conflict. Enter into a conflict in a positive way. Put your point forward, and then ignore or compromise, adjust. As I said, the management, pick up any management style and pick up, and then come out of it. Second, if you're entering a conflict, as point 1 says, point 2, then you must clarify what the issue is. अगर आपने ये decide कर लिया that I'm entering a conflict और इसको मुझे solve करना है, so it is your duty. इसको आप समझिए कि आपने फिर अपने point को रख के ही बाहर आना है. You can't just enter a conflict and come back. So that means you lost the opportunity, you lost the game. If you're entering a conflict, if you decided positively, you're entering, you have decided कि मैं क्या communicate करूंगा, this is my work, this is my life, this is my personal thing, this is my professional thing, then you must be ready with the clarity what you're supposed to do. Here I'll just share a point that a lot of people do communication workshops. I do strategic communication workshops. Why do we need communication? उसको लैंग्वेज को हटा देते हैं हम लोग, उसमें हम यही बात करते हैं कि स्ट्रैटेजिक कम्युनिकेशन है क्या. Because dealing with your boss, you use different words. Dealing with your wife or husband, you do use different words. With your children, with your parents, grandparents, with your friends, everywhere your communication strategy is not exactly the same. It's always different. So if we are connecting it to the conflict, understand that your communication strategy should be very, very clear. कि मेरे को ये point रखना है in this way, in this manner. Sometimes you'll probably have to raise your voice also if nobody is listening. Sometimes you just simply have to write it down, send an email. Sometimes a text, sometimes very positive way, very healthy communication. But clarify, zarur kare, because you have entered into conflict knowingly, not unknowingly. So how important conflict in your life is and how it can make you a better person is something which is really, really all of us should understand. Now bring involved parties together to talk. Okay, the more, with more experience, with more growth in life, better positions within family, outside family, professional life, friends, आपके बीच में maybe आप वो खुद ही हो, आपके बीच में you will always come across somebody who has the courage and guts to bring people to sit and talk and resolve the conflict, right? And that person can be anybody. Immaterial है कि उसकी position क्या है. The top people who are sitting on most of the top positions, from my experience, I'm saying that they are so, I mean, experienced in terms of resolving conflicts that they actually, without even entering into conflict, they resolve the conflict because they understand with experience. Like I always thank my professors for teaching all this to me and my bosses and some of my senior colleagues, that you don't have to actually enter a conflict in order to resolve a conflict. You can be a party in the sense that you can bring people on table and you can get the issue resolved. But that requires a lot of experience and courage and understanding of and level of maturity also, because sometimes what happens is that person who is bringing both parties together to resolve an issue becomes a party of the issue and then another issue starts. So once you had made chance to talk to all involved parties separately, bring them together in a meeting so that they can hash out their difference in a neutral environment. This is the time for brainstorming, active learning, and being open to different perspectives. The goal is to come to a common understanding of what the problem is, role, and solutions. With time, when you understand conflict, when you understand how to enter and exit a conflict, with time, you'll become a person who can resolve the conflicts, and your growth starts that day. You'll become a better manager. You'll become a better boss. You'll become a better leader. So this is something which is really very, very, very important. Identify a solution. Maybe you do not have a solution for something if you're entering a conflict. Maybe you don't even understand what conflict is, but at least develop an understanding of identifying a solution. Identification of solution is more important rather than giving a solution. Once you identify that, okay, both parties have a chance to discuss the situation, they often conflict on and resolve it. This phase can require some time and effort, and it requires both parties to set aside the differences and preferences and find some common ground to work towards. जब तक जहां तक पर्सनली और प्रोफेशनली हमारे पास कोई कॉमन ग्राउंड होता है एक काम को करने का, इट कुड बी इन योर पर्सनल लाइफ ऑल्सो, इट कुड बी इन योर ऑफिस ऑल्सो. अगर हम कॉमन ग्राउंड हमारे पास कुछ होता है और हम कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को पॉजिटिव वे में लेके चल रहे हैं कि दैट if on this common ground, if I work and if I closely focus on this, then I have more benefits attached to it, then you will always focus on the resolving the issue because you identify a solution. आपने एक solution mind में रखा हुआ है that if I'm working with somebody, if at home I'm doing this, then this is our common ground. More benefits are there rather than more negatives. So this is also something which you must keep this in mind. And last but not the least, continue to monitor and follow up on the conflict. देखिए आपने conflict में एंट्री करी, एग्जिट करी, दैट मीन्स कॉन्फ्लिक्ट खत्म नहीं हुआ, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपकी डेवलप हो गई है। एंड आपकी जैसे अंडरस्टैंडिंग जैसे डेवलप हो गई है, देन इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटर दैट वो सिचुएशन दोबारा ना आए, उस लेवल तक आप दोबारा ना जाए। ट्राई टू अवॉइड, try to compromise, try to understand, try to walk away, try to communicate as best as you can. So these are certain things. Now skills की बात करते हैं, and then I think session conclude करेंगे आपके लिए, और question answer के लिए 5-10 minutes रखेंगे। skills की बात करते हैं। skills I think we've already discussed. 1 hour में whatever best I can I'm doing. Active listening is one, emotional intelligence, patience, impartiality, positive, open communication, don't point fingers, let person explain themselves, show willingness, pay close attention to non-verbal communication, apologize and forgive, and humor when appropriate. आप इस skills पर आप देखेंगे, you look around, शायद आपके अंदर भी बहुत सारे skills already होंगे. I'm sure a lot of you who are working and also managing your education, क्योंकि इस phase से मैं भी गुजर चुका हूँ, that I was working and studying also. So ये skills हम सबके पास हैं, and we use these skills on day-to-day basis. And perhaps that is why we are growing and moving forward. But in order to have that, इसकी list बने, एक understanding बने, that is very very important, that what exactly the conflict is, how I solve conflicts, which skill I use to solve a conflict, and which skill I need to solve a conflict. कुछ लोग हंसी मजाक में बहुत सारी चीजें solve कर देते हैं, कुछ लोग सिर्फ सुनते हैं, then they give a positive solution, कुछ लोग open communication रखते हैं, कुछ लोग किसी आर्गुमेंट में जाते ही नहीं है, डिस्कशन लेवल पे ही दे रिजॉल्व अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. सो दिस इज हाउ इट इज. ये स्किल्स हैं कुछ ऐसे which you already have, लेकिन आप उसमें से एक या दो स्किल्स यूज कर रहे हैं. Perhaps you can have understanding, develop understanding, read more about other skills also, and these skills can help you become a better person and a better in terms of managing conflicts. I would like to thank all of you. This is like a page, if you Google, you'll find all these pictures, some awards, some TEDx talks, some my certifications, and a lot of other stuff if you see. And I'll be more than happy to connect with all of you guys if I can give any help. And I am really thankful to IMT, Dr. Preeti Siroi especially, for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak to the students. I always delight to address and work closely with management institutes and management students. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I'm open to questions or whichever way you want to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Himanshu. I request all the participants, if they have any queries, they have any questions for Dr. Himanshu, please feel free. You can write in the chat box, or we can give you permission to unmute. So if you have any queries, you can write in the chat box, or if you can raise your hand, or we can unmute you.
Okay, thank you, Pawan. Anybody, any question? I think.
Yes, sir, I have.
Yes, your name, please.
Pratibha.
Pratibha. Pratibha, where are you working, Pratibha?
Sir, I am working with logistics company.
Okay. Yes, tell me, how can I help you?
Sir, what if both the parties are not ready to sit and talk on a conflict?
See, Pratibha, as I told you that there are three angles, jitni meri understanding hai. First angle, as I said, psychological and philosophical, where you sit and talk and discuss. Second is competition in terms of healthy competition, that both parties need each other for work, and then they see the common ground and say, chaliye hum is issue ko resolve karte. And if that doesn't help both the things, then the third option is the legal option. See, legal option is, legal word को भी हम लोग सोचते हैं कि अरे law में कौन जाएगा, we'll have to file a case and all that. No, it's not like that. Legal is, I deliver a lot of lectures on legal side of business also. So legal is basically makes you understand that what your rights are. So legally, for instance, government says that you need a license to run a logistics company, और आपने वो license नहीं लिया हुआ. On the other side, that company is saying that we need somebody who has this license or a, say, GST number or anything. Most of the issues in corporate world, they are connected to the statutory and regulatory compliances. कि आपने इस compliance को पूरा नहीं किया, आपने जो promise किया था वो पूरा नहीं किया, आपने ये जो मेरे questions थे इनको address नहीं किया, आपने tax payment time पे नहीं किया. So iske liye, then we go for the legal side of the conflict and say that, okay, I am right because government is saying this is our constitution, this is our law. That's it. That is, Pratibha, I think
Okay. Thank you,
can be
sir.
done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Amit Jain.
Uh,
Anybody who,
Hi, Himanshu, Pawan this
hi.
side.
Yes,
Just
yes.
one query. How do you not avoid the conflict? At the first point, which was there, right? How do we not avoid the conflict? Generally, the tendency is to avoid to get into it. But
Uh-huh.
then, at that particular moment, how do you decide whether you should get into it or not?
Right. See, as I said multiple times, I'll just reiterate that first of all, take conflict as a positive word. That I am entering into a conflict, fine, I'm entering. Now, second, prioritize your positive side in the sense the benefits attached. So you can pick up out of five, you can pick up, for example, you can pick up, say, compromise. That okay, other parties compromising on five things, I am compromising five things. It's a win-win situation. See, conflict is all about reaching a win-win situation, not win or lose. That I defeated that person in this conflict. No, 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 no. With that conflict will continue forever. No, the solution, the best part of the conflict is if you're using conflict in positive way, is a win-win situation. Create or try to create or offer to create a situation which is win-win for both the parties. If it is for one side, then that conflict never gets resolved. Sooner or later, that person or that company will come back and they'll say, now we are right, you are wrong. एंड बस वही से आप जैसे कहते हैं लाइफ के विशियस सर्कल में फंस गए कि अब मुझे उसको प्रूव करना ही इज रॉन्ग, मुझे उसको प्रूव करना ही इज रॉन्ग. नो, create a win-win situation for all of us, in the both of us or both the parties, and then move forward.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, this is Bhanti Moore.
Yes, Manti.
Yeah, as I have one situation, so if you can just try.
I'll try my best. Please tell me.
Thank you. So we have two persons as in management in our company, and they both are, one is from other state and one is a local person, and he is in our company since last 15 years. And another one who has joined in the same position, he has 20 years of experience in different location, different organization. So he is much experienced, but the other person, he and means they both are not in a situation to talk, because one is completely advanced and other one is just having a single pattern of experience. So the conflict starts from there, and as an HR we could not find a bridge so that they can sit and talk. So most of the conversation and most of the situations are like, one, for example, the person who is from who is having a good experience from other places, he want to public means he want to do something new in the company, and other one is like, I know this company, I'm here from 15 years and I won't allow this. So these kind of situations happen. So how to uh, can we find some way? This is just a
Yeah, Bhakti,
practical.
I'll share my personal example. For example, I was in the UK for some time. UK से वापस आने के बाद, जो language के जो मेरी vocabulary थी वो develop हो गई UK style, and I started writing using words UK style. India में our English, our linguistic skills are different. हमारी English is more constructive English, and we follow a very solid pattern जो हमारे को school level से सिखाया जाता है. And same thing happened. So I joined an organization. I said this should be done like this, and the person said no, this should be done in this manner or this. So it was quite tough for me. But then I realized that every organization has its own culture. यहाँ पे what I personally feel is not a conflictive situation. It is more of a cultural issue. Culture in the sense, culture word को अगर आप study करेंगे. So culture means that when you set up an organization, you set up some unsaid rules that will come at 9:30, chalo 9:45 bhi aa sakte hain, nobody says anything. On the other hand, if you're entering a multinational organization, 9:30 means 9:30 because they record your hours, number of hours, working hours. Same thing is happening in your organization, that the new gentleman who has come, he has taken more professional experience from different angles. And somebody who's sitting within the organization is someone who knows your organization well, in the sense that he has set up his own set of rules. Now these rules he will not change, and the other guy will not change. Now here, like I used in my PPT, that the solution for within your company is that you have to communicate and tell them that there are 5 different situations in managing this conflict. You have to understand the culture of the company, that we are not competing with each other, we are here to collaborate. That is one. Second, we have to you arrange a sit and talk, that we have to avoid a lot of things. And third, you have to become more accommodating. These are 5 solutions which I shared with you. Out of that, 3 really applies in your organization. Now, how you want to do it? In HR cases, one is that you organize a training program and you involve people. During that training program, you do get the things done on a lighter note. Second, offsite training. Sometimes people take colleagues outside for a training. Why do we go for offsite training? That is the only reason is that we want people to gel and talk to each other. And third is that within the organization, you'll have to do some creative stuff, in the sense, involve them with some kind of games or quiz, give them more opportunity to talk to each other, understand each other on a common ground. You'll have to identify, Bhanti, what is the common ground between them, and then bring those people on that common ground, let them sit and talk and discuss what is common within themselves. And then they'll start understanding each other, that, okay, when I write, I say it is important, and the other person says, no, it is significant. So these are certain things which HR people, there are certain tools, if you can apply, I think you can easily get a solution to that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Okay, Shantanu is saying, hello, Rahul, enlightening us. So my question is, what to do if both the parties under conflict use similar resolution strategies, like competing or accommodating or any other? Really good. That means they're taking conflict in a very positive way. See, if they're using the same strategy, that means vested interest. Legal word में use करते हैं, language में vested interest. दोनों same चीज use कर रहे हैं, दोनों का एक common goal है कि हमें अपना profit तो निकालना है, business को खत्म नहीं करना. So that means vested interest है, they are taking conflict in a positive way. बस यहाँ पे एक जरूरत क्या है, either a mediation or a good communicator who can sit and discuss and get the issue resolved. Okay, Abhinav, my question is, conflict with a person and we resolve it, but more often we face conflict with the same person. Is this scenario, what should we do without leaving a person from my circle? Abhinav, देखो, मैंने स्टार्टिंग में बात कही थी, अब मैं आपको साइकोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव से कह रहा हूँ. कुछ लोगों को ना बड़ी खुशी मिलती है नेगेटिव बातें. It is their way of communicating. They are not bad person, but they have the habit of picking up negative side of everything. अब हम इसको लेते हैं पॉजिटिव को. आपके मान लीजिए मेरा क्लोज फ्रेंड है, मैं घूमने जाने लगूंगा तो मुझे कहेगा, कहाँ जा रहे हो? पहाड़ों में जा रहे हो? नहीं, वहां बारिश हो रही होगी, डोंट गो. वो मैं कहूंगा राजस्थान जा रहा हूँ, नहीं, वहां बहुत गर्मी होगी, डोंट गो. So you will come across people like this in your life. Maybe sometimes मैं खुद या anyone, all of us can have that negative side. But then again, always one, conflict positive way. Second, see the benefits attached. आज मेरे पास extended weekend है, and in that extended weekend मेरे को एक better deal मिल रही है राजस्थान की. Let's go to Rajasthan. Forget about गर्मी शर्मी. हम AC में चलेंगे, आराम से करेंगे. We'll spend some more money. Same thing. You have to show such kind of people the benefits of going to mountains or to Rajasthan, rather than accepting their points. कि अच्छा हाँ, you are right, वहाँ तो बहुत गर्मी होगी यार, 40 टेम्परेचर है, दिल्ली में 47 है, वहाँ 50 होगा, 3 डिग्री सेल्सियस है, क्या फर्क पड़ना है? As long as you are going with your friends or family and you're going to stay within the hotel, what is the problem? हाँ, if for instance you're going for adventure, then don't go to Rajasthan. Then obviously go to Himachal, Shimla, Jammu, anywhere else. So identification of problem, as I said, identification of conflict is more important than getting into a situation. Okay, mimic. What if the conflict is between someone and you? Is it better to deal with self or to involve someone else who could help resolve the conflict? Mimic. All of us, we have a very close circle. These days, आजकल भी हो गया, कई लोग बड़ा circle भी रखते हैं. A lot of us keep very close circle. Now, within this close circle, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के साथ साथ कुछ ऐसे वर्ड्स और भी ऐड होते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ट्रस्ट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, कि आप किसी person पे इतना trust करते हैं कि if he or she is guiding you, supporting you, then you say that okay, whatever they are doing it for my benefit. उनका कोई अपना personal benefit नहीं है, but they are doing it for my benefit because they think or I am part of their life or their circle. अब यहाँ पे challenge ये आता है that there are people who behave that they are really good people, but जो उनके जैसे कहते हैं ना हिंदी में वर्ड होता है कथनी और करनी. So what they say and what they do is entirely different. Then even if somebody is your close friend, वो conflict आपका हमेशा रहेगा because वो trust आपका भी बनेगा ही. A lot of people, like a lot of couples these days, I tell you, most of these guys, some take alcohol, some smoke and something, but they try to hide these things. But this can't be hidden. So sooner or later they come to know that okay, you're doing this or you're doing that, and they come to know, and then once it is known, they get to a conflict. Rather, you don't do that or don't promise that, and be very open and straightforward. Okay,
Yes.
Shikhar.
Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah.
To add to that, I just wanted to understand that if that
Your good name, sir?
Mimic.
Yeah, Mimic, yes.
Yeah. So just to add to that, if that's a loss of trust between you and the other person who within which the conflict has arisen, so how to, I mean, is it okay to involve the other person who could, I mean, help deal with the conflict like anybody else, or would it be better to handle that conflict directly, like if it's between a manager and a team member?
Mimic, two things. One is that trust is not just a word, it's an experience.
Yeah.
It takes years and years of people to develop trust, right? So if, for instance, you have developed a trust within your team members, maybe 1 year, 2 years, that you have experienced that this guy or this girl or this person is right and wrong in this situation, then you don't need to involve anyone else, to be very honest. Okay. If that breach of trust has happened and it has happened repeatedly, then it is always better to bring in third person. Why to bring in third person? Let me put it now from the legal perspective, so that somebody can vouch on that, somebody can keep an eye on that, somebody can say he or she can be an evidence to what right or wrong had happened. So then third person involvement is very important in terms of resolving a conflict, because you're already in a conflict. Breach of trust has happened, you are in a conflict. Involving third person is always better.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. Okay, Rakesh Kumar. Rakesh Kumar ji, how to deal with person who raises a conflict and vested interest and does not agree to mutual solutions, but always wants a decision in their favor. Such person also drags negative discussion so as to. देखिए राकेश कुमार जी, हमारे ऑफिसेज में, हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में, हमारे फ्रेंड सर्कल्स में कुछ ऐसे लोग होते हैं जिनका काम यही है that one, they think that they are always right. Second, they think that they are always better than other person. Third, they are always competing with each other. Somebody is sitting next to you. Okay, ये इस brand की shirt पहनी है, I'll buy a better brand. इसके पास ये गाड़ी है, I'll do a better thing. आपने कोई statement दी, no, I disagree with the situation. Now the best thing is, Rakesh ji, अगर इतने सारे negatives आपको किसी में दिख रहे हैं, so avoid that person. Why are we keeping that person in our lives? Now, obviously, वो positive way में, in the sense, हमें ऐसे लेना होगा that we need a colleague, for example, एक colleague है who knows his work very well, but he's a negative person. Talk to that colleague only for work. Minimum communication. Avoid as much as possible. But because he is good at his work, this is a mind game I'm telling you. Because he is good at his work, आप उसे काम देंगे, वो काम जरूर करेगा. Because he is good at his work, he doesn't want to spoil his professional life. But don't give that person space in your personal life. Avoid as much as you can. And because आपको उसका attitude पता लग चुका है that he is somebody who will create a conflict out of nothing. So give him nothing. Let him, avoid him, try to keep away from that person. That is the best. Tushar, sir, one of my colleagues is very negative. I want to avoid to talk to her, but due to work, I can't avoid her. Please tell me what should I have to do? Tushar, on a lighter note, हो सकता है आपकी colleague भी ये कहती हो कि तुषार negative है. Anyways, the solution is, जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि हमेशा ऐसे लोगों को अवॉइड करना. अवॉइड भी एक सॉल्यूशन मैंने अपनी पीपीटी में दिया है ना आपको. अवॉइड हम कर सकते हैं. अब काम तो आपको है उनसे और काम तो करवाना है. सो देन वी हैव मोड्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, राइट. यू डोंट हैव टू गो एंड टॉक टू समबडी टू गेट द वर्क डन. आप किसी को व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं, आप किसी को ईमेल भेज सकते हैं, आप किसी को राइटिंग में लेटर भेज सकते हैं. यू कैन डू एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग. एंड ऑब्वियसली अगर आप कोर्ट की बात करें लीगली, तो व्हाट्सएप पे गया हुआ मैसेज एंड इफ इट इज डिलीवर्ड, इट इज कंसिडर्ड एज एन एविडेंस. तो अगर आपको कल को बॉस कहे कि आपने वो काम किया था या उनको पास ऑन किया था या शेयर किया था या नहीं किया था, यू कैन ऑलवेज से दिस इज द प्रूफ. सो अवॉइड ऐसी सिचुएशन को करना इज द बेस्ट थिंग. स्टिल फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ he or she creates trouble in your life, again I would still say find out the common ground. कि ऐसे कौन से पॉइंट्स हैं प्रोफेशनली जहां पे उनको आपकी और आपको उनकी जरूरत है, एंड ओनली टॉक अबाउट दैट. बिकॉज जब हमारा वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट या कॉमन ग्राउंड होता है, वी डोंट गेट इनटू अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, वी रिजॉल्व अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. बट जहां हमारा कॉमन ग्राउंड नहीं होता, आई डोंट केयर कि वो मेरा जॉब नहीं कर रहा, ही इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ माय टीम, आई डोंट केयर, ही इज नॉट माय फ्रेंड सर्कल, आई डोंट केयर, माय नेबर इज नॉट माय फैमिली, आई डोंट केयर. वंस यू हैव दैट एटीट्यूड, आई डोंट केयर, आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. यू आर सिंपली अवॉइडिंग. बट अगर काम करना है, करवाना है, common ground is the best possible solution. Amit Jain, hi doctor, what to do if someone from another department try to interfere in your department and conflict arises? देखिए, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरा एक फ्रेंड है, वो आपके डिपार्टमेंट में, आपका एक फ्रेंड मेरे डिपार्टमेंट में, एंड आई एम competing with you. We are in a same organization, different teams. I'm competing with you, and I know, and you also know that somebody in my team or somebody in your team is passing on information or communicating or trying to raise the conflict. इसके अंदर second thing, जैसे मैंने आपको solutions की बात की थी, इसके अंदर first आप compromise कर जाते हैं. Compromise in a way, okay, let के चलिए, अच्छा ठीक है, आप conflict arise कर लीजिए, सब कुछ कर लीजिए, but हमारा काम होना चाहिए. That is more important. माना उनको लगा नहीं, काम से तो नहीं हो पाएगा, देन आप अकोमोडेटिंग बनते हैं. ओके, आप उनसे कहते हैं अच्छा ठीक है, आप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट राइज कीजिए, हम डिपार्टमेंट में, आप एक मेल लिखेंगे, मैं मेल लिखता रहूंगा, विल डू कम्युनिकेशन, राइट. देन ऑटोमेटिकली यू विल सी समबडी विल जंप इनटू दिस कन्वर्सेशन. ये ऑफिसेस में बहुत होता है. उसी ने मेरे को ईमेल लिखी, मैंने उसको लिखी, और डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट है, वी आर एक्सचेंजिंग ईमेल्स, कम्युनिकेशन चले आ रहा है, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बन चुका है वो. देन अ थर्ड पर्सन और मैच्योर पर्सन जंप्स इन एंड सेज के रिजॉल्व दिस इशू. मान लीजिए वो भी नहीं हुआ, कि कोई कॉमन ग्राउंड भी नहीं बन रहा, कोई सोल्यूशन भी नहीं दे रहा, देन व्हाट शुड डू? देन यू बिकम अकोमोडेटिंग. कि आप उन्हें कहिए ठीक है बॉस, आप बताइए क्या करना. लेट हिम गिव यू इंस्ट्रक्शंस इन राइटिंग, लेट हिम कम्युनिकेट विद यू इन राइटिंग दैट दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड डू, एंड यू डू दैट. इनिशियली आपको लगा होगा, हो सकता है आपको पता भी हो, ऑल ऑफ अस कम इन दिस सिचुएशन जहां पे पता होता है व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इज रॉन्ग, बट बिकॉज मेरे बॉस का मुझे ऑर्डर, आई हैव टू डू इट, इट्स हिज प्रॉब्लम. लेट हिम डू, टेक द इंस्ट्रक्शंस, बी रेडी विद दोज इंस्ट्रक्शंस. सी, मैंने अपनी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में आपको एक बात कही कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के अंदर डोंट अवॉइड अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. ये जो अमित आपका जो क्वेश्चन है कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट अराइज हो रहा है, ठीक है, हो जाए कॉन्फ्लिक्ट अराइज, आप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में पॉजिटिवली एंटर कीजिए ना, एंड लेट इट हैंडल दिस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. मोर यू विल learn to handle a conflict, more accommodating you will become. Sometimes you will compromise also, sometimes you will avoid, sometimes you will reply. It will make you more experienced in terms of handling such kind of people and situations. So let the conflict arise, usko conflict ko arise kijiye, but remember that all of us, in order to save ourselves, if we are in a conflict, the best way out is that you record everything. It should be on email. If it is not on the email or WhatsApp, then as I said, to mimic, you can always invite a third person to sit and talk and discuss. If a third person is not available, you can escalate it to the senior authorities. जितने आपको ऑप्शंस मिले वो सारे ट्राई कीजिए कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में रह के. यू आर नॉट अवॉइडिंग अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, यू आर मैनेजिंग अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. आपको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट करना ही तो सीखना है. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के अंदर ही रहिए. लेट्स एंजॉय द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. लेट समबडी से कि ये ऐसे होगा, एंड यू से ऐसे होगा, and then at a point you will realize that common ground create हो गया. अगर हम इसको अभी यहाँ resolve कर लेंगे, both of us, our interest will get addressed, conflict solve हो गया और आप conflict से बाहर आ गए. This is exactly what all of you have to learn in your life. Yes, what else? I think कोई question नहीं हो गया. Yes,
I
ma'am.
think, Himanshu, all the questions have been taken by you, like whatever is coming up. And I know that this is such a topic, the questions will, all the people have a lot of questions and queries.
Welcome, ma'am.
So they can get connected with you on Instagram, LinkedIn, you are on different platforms. So what I can suggest all the participants that they can get connected with Dr. Himanshu Talwar.
Yes.
As you have listened that he has the solution of most of your queries. So you will get, if you
Yes.
connect with him,
So,
you are definitely going to get benefit from
yes. So
there.
you can visit my website, himanshutalwar.com, and I use, as I already mentioned in the beginning, I use all my social media platforms as professional platforms, and phone number, email, everything is available. Feel free to write to me. Just subject line में लिख देना that conflict management IMT CDL, so that I can recall के वहाँ पे मैंने आपको address किया था.
Okay, Himanshu, I'll
Ma'am.
just like to invite Dr. Preeti Sharma. I think she is also here.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Preeti ma'am, are you there? I'm not sure, like a few minutes back I saw her. Okay, so Dr. Preeti, are you there? I can see her, but
Yeah, ma'am, she's there.
she's there, but
I think वो spotlight से आप हटा देंगे ना अगर मेरा वाला जो फोटो है, I think unable to unmute. मैम उनको unmute के लिए आपको कहना होगा.
okay.
Permission देनी होगी. Yes, Preeti ma'am is there. Yes. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. It's very late, Himanshu. Actually, I was occupied with my
It's okay, ma'am.
normal routine class and I joined in the middle. But it was so involving, the entire interaction, that I was just glued to it the moment I entered into the moment.
Thank you.
So, great session, and thank you so much for accepting our request and enlightening our participants. Definitely, it was a very engaging session, and time is very short for this.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure all the participants have benefited immensely, and we hope that we will be connected with you in one way or the other, and your mentorship will be available to us.
Definitely, ma'am.
So with that hope, for all the participants, this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel, and you can connect with Dr. Preeti for any query in this regard. So she will take it forward. I would recommend you strongly that instead of directly approaching Dr. Talwar, you please connect to Dr. Preeti. So Dr. Himanshu, I think this is the time. We have taken a lot of time from you, and
my pleasure,
with folded hands, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Preeti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Himanshu, and for making this webinar on the chemistry of conflict management so simple and well connected to us. We also understand, a lot of things, that how we can change our perceptions from limiting the negative aspects and converting those towards the positive aspects. The solutions which you have given in the techniques definitely are going to be, to help us like in getting a better person in life in future. So we are definitely going to apply those techniques. Like I personally will be applying those techniques now in future. And I think every participant must have got the insights and a lot of learnings from your session today. So thank you so much, Himanshu, and definitely we are going to get connected for you for future webinars.
Definitely. Thank you. Would be a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.